Hey everybody, it's Dr. Gerstmar of Spiral Natural Health, and welcome to the Ask Dr. G Anything Vlogasode. So this is volume 1. We're giving it a try. As you can see, I'm a little casual today, doing some odds and ends, some work around the office and the home, and I thought I'd take a break and answer a couple of questions that came in for me, okay? So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first question I had is, can you tell me more about the company Elysium Health and their products? So let me just say off the top of my head, I have no connection with Elysium. This is the first time I've ever heard about them. And I'm not specifically going to talk about one company because I don't want this just to be about a particular product, but more so about evaluating, supplement companies and supplement lines and seeing if it's something worthwhile. So we take a quick glance at their website. Obviously, the values that they're putting forward are something I really support. So they say transparency, that all the research and the team behind the product should be freely available for anyone to see. So we definitely like that. So one of the things I don't like in products in general is too much of proprietary blends or secret ingredients or knowledge. Look, if it's good stuff, we want to know what it is. So whether it's food, whether it's supplements, we should be able to see the ingredients. And ideally, when it comes to supplements or medications, we should be able to see the science behind it so we can make up our own minds whether it's worthwhile. So in general, 100% behind the idea of transparency. Access, obviously, things should be accessible by people. And this is just part of the movement that we're seeing away from medications that must be solely dispensed by doctors into things that can be broadly accessed. Now, this is both good and bad, right? We're seeing a lot of pharmaceuticals be pushed over the counter to try and increase sales, but of course, not all of these things are completely safe. Now, with a lot of nutrients, the margin of error is really, really high, and unless someone really goes out of their way, they're not going to hurt themselves. The side effects of most supplements most of the time are, stomach upset, nausea, diarrhea. You just completely overloaded your system and it doesn't like it. In general, I'm 100% behind. You have a health team. You have people who are knowledgeable about those supplements, and they can guide you in their proper use, what makes sense for your individual case. But we do like seeing things accessible. But just have to say, just because it's accessible doesn't mean you should take it. Not everything that is natural or not everything that normally goes into our body is 100% safe in any quantity or amount or in every situation, okay? Validation, their third thing, they want to see things validated by scientific publications. Now, on the surface, great. But listen, just because something doesn't have a scientific publication or it doesn't have a whole boatload of scientific publications doesn't mean it's bad. Of course, ideally, we want to see everything has good science, good scientific publications behind it, can show us, yes, this is valuable, yes, this is worthwhile. But let's face it, a lot of these things, a lot of natural remedies don't have much patent ability behind them. That is, there's not a huge profit margin on them. And face it, scientific studies are expensive. Now, look, is proof important? Absolutely. So really, we're looking at 4 kinds of proof. Scientific proof is one of those. So ideally, yes, we have this objective science behind it, good, well-done science, and it's been repeated and shown to be true. Ideally, we want that. But often, we don't have it. Look, it's been estimated that 85% of all conventional procedures, things your MDs use, still haven't been adequately validated by science. So if we wanted to wait until everything was perfectly proved by science, we'd have almost nothing to use, right? But science, definitely, we like it. We want it. It's one criteria. The second is the doctor or the person's clinical experience. So look, if someone's been using something for an extended period of time on a group of people and they've been getting consistently good results, that's great evidence that might be useful, right? Is it absolute proof? No, of course not, but neither are the scientific studies, right? So good clinical experience. The third piece is going to be about intuition. In other words, this is the least quantifiable of the 4. So in other words, that sort of, we were talking about logic here in the beginning, right? Rational thinking. And that's great. We make as much use of it as we can. But intuition is that other piece. So Daniel Kahneman in his work, when he talks about thinking fast and slow, the intuition is the thinking fast. It's where pieces come together. And we have people often, I ask people, what do you think you need to do? Does this sound like a good idea to you? And you'll be surprised. Many times people are able to pull it out and say, that just doesn't seem right to me. Or you know what, this really seems like the way we could go. And then we look and we test and we validate and we make sure. But I don't want to discount that intuition is an important way of knowing. So when we talk about proof, we have the scientific proof, we have the clinical proof, right? What doctors are getting in the field and other health practitioners. We have kind of the intuition. That is, when we sort of look at it in this broader picture, does it make sense? Does it fit in? And then the fourth is the traditional use. So science wants to poo-poo this a lot, or at least the scientism that we see out there. But look, if a group or a society or a people have been using a medicine for a long period of time, there's reasonable, we have a reason to think that there is use behind that. Could it turn out that it's not useful? It's possible, sure. That's what clinical experience and science and also just that kind of fuzzy intuition are all about. But traditional use can give us many clues. And so if something's been used for a long time, and again, if there's a good track record that that's been helpful in that medical system, such as Ayurveda or Chinese medicine or any of the other traditional medicines out there, then it's certainly worth a look. So yes, scientific validation, 100% behind it. But just because something doesn't have scientific validation doesn't mean it's not useful, right? Just because it doesn't have the scientific validation doesn't mean it's not useful. And secondly, just because it does have that scientific validation doesn't mean it's quite right for you. So again, don't forget that intuition. Something can look perfect on paper. The doctor or the health professional in front of you can have good experience with it, and even we can have the backing that traditional medicine says it's good. And at the end of the day, it might be the wrong choice for you. So please, we can't 100% count on intuition, but also don't completely discount intuition. So the last one is progress, right? Continually pushing the boundary. So absolutely, we want to see that all of our health providers, from individuals, right, to the companies and suppliers, everybody who's pitching in here, we want to see continual progress in innovation. Because face it, we've got a lot of problems. We need a lot of help, right? So I'm 100% behind this. A couple of other things that you can look at when you're looking at a company. So, right, if you're looking at a supplement, you should be able to flip over the bottle and you want to scan down and you want to see that they particularly say that it's free of things like additives, colorings, right? That it is often dairy-free, gluten-free, soy-free, free. So they're going to list these things because they've gone to a special effort to make a cleaner, better product, right? People aren't going to brag that they did these things if they didn't. And if they didn't, it likely is a sign that you're looking at a lower quality product. And lastly here, guys, look, if it's a bargain basement product, you do get what you pay for. I'm not saying you need to go out there and buy the most expensive thing possible, but I am saying that you do get what you pay for. So if you're shopping in the bargain aisle, the 5 for $1 thing, you're getting what you pay for. Look, some articles came out not too long ago saying GNC and Walmart got in trouble because of things that were spiked or adulterated into their herbal products, or we hear that the cheapest products coming over from China are often contaminated with lead and other heavy metals. Again, it's you get what you pay for. So we really recommend, look, pick a more reputable company. We like these values that are being espoused, right? I do. Transparency, access, validation, right? Continual progress. These are all things that we like to see. We like that Elysium here and other companies have health experts, and they're willing to name who they are. So we know the clinical and scientific expertise behind these products. Absolutely. We like to see that the company's been around for a while. We like to see that the company is investing in quality product. So when you flip those over, you can see that they're listing that it's a clean product by telling you all these things that have been avoided, right? And lastly, we'd like if everything was super affordable, but we like to see that it's not a bargain basement product, because the bottom line is, look, if the company's having to cut costs that much to make that cheap of a product, you know they're reaching for the absolute cheapest things they can find. And just like in anything in life, the cheapest things really aren't going to give us the results that we're looking for. So I hope that's been helpful. This company, I have no personal stake in them, but the second question they asked about this was, is this the way things are moving? And the answer is, I hope so. I would like to see everyone, from the supplement companies to the pharmaceutical companies, everyone involved in the health space, be champions for more transparency, better access, more validation, and continual progress, right? Let's hope it. And is there big money in supplements? Are we going to see more of this? Yes, very likely we are. So the second question that I was asked was about coffee enemas. And this is involved with detox. This is a bigger topic that I'll handle more at a later point, but I want to talk about coffee enemas. So do all detoxes need enemas and colonics? Because what I hear is the average person thinks that a detox is all about enemas and colonics, right? So an enema or a colonic is about placing essentially, right, a liquid up your butt, right? An enema is a small amount. It only reaches a short ways into your colon, your large intestine, right? A colonic is a relatively large volume of liquid, and it reaches ideally all the way through your large intestine. So what's the point? Why are people doing colonics and enemas? So we'll set aside some of the rationales that they give, and we'll just talk about what it is. You are flushing out the large intestine, right? You are also, so in its simplest, if you're just putting water in as an enema or as a colonic, you're flushing out the feces, the poop, right, out of part or all of the large intestine. Are there reasons for doing that? Absolutely. The second part of an enema is what you could be putting in. So some traditions like Ayurveda, which is traditional Indian medicine, is all about using medicated oils and waters. So you can essentially brew herbal teas and you can use them in enemas. You can also steep herbs and other substances into oils and use them in enemas. And then pharmaceutically, there are, for example, steroid enemas that are used in things like ulcerative colitis as well. So enemas and colonics really do two things. The first is that they flush out the large intestine, a small amount or a large amount. The second is that you can use them to put things into the large intestine. So what about coffee? Why would you put coffee into an enema or a colonic? So this therapy, as best as I'm aware, originated with the Gerstmar therapy. Dr. Gerstmar was a medical doctor who came over from Germany, practiced in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and he treated a lot of cancer. And one big part of his treatment was the use of coffee enemas. Now, coffee, the theory is that coffee, the caffeine and some of the beneficial coffee compounds can be absorbed by the large intestine, travel to the liver, and have their beneficial effects there. And so one of those effects is it helps to promote a release, without going into too much detail, a release of some of the toxicity of the system, helps to flush and clear it out of the system. The second is that it seems to stimulate the production of glutathione being the master antioxidant and detoxifying compound. So we have, again, going back to, do we have scientific evidence for this? Not that I have seen. Maybe it's out there. If anybody has any, please drop it my way. But scientific evidence, not that I've seen. But clinical experience, yes. So coffee enemas have been used for a long time, and they seem to magnify the effects of detoxification. Does that mean that everybody needs to do a coffee enema? No. So really, it's all about context here, guys. So does a detox require a coffee enema? No. Can a detox be amplified or magnified by the use of a coffee enema? Yes, it can. So, do I need to do a coffee enema for a detox? No, you do not. Might you want to include it? Yes, you might. So, I recommend that if that's something that you want to do, get some advice from your health practitioner about when it's appropriate and how to put it in, and it can be a useful part of a detox regimen. All right, folks, that's it for this session of the DrG Ask Me Anything Vlogasode. I would love to put out more of these, so please drop me your questions. You can do that one of two ways. The first is drop us a line at info, I-N-F-O, at Aspire Natural Health, all one word, A-S-P-I-R-E, aspirenaturalhealth.com, info at aspirenaturalhealth.com, or jump on our Facebook page over at Facebook/Aspire Natural Health. I'll be putting out a call for more questions, so just leave us a question there. I look forward to answering it next week in episode 2 of the Ask Dr. G, Ask Me Anything Vlogasode. Until later, guys, take care.